We want to get you to Afghanistan now, where the Taliban is asking for help after a catastrophic earthquake killed at least 1,000 people. Rescue crews have struggled to reach the affected area because of the impassable roads. It is the deadliest quake to strike the country in 20 years, and officials say the death toll will likely rise.
CBS News foreign correspondent Charlie D'Agata is in London with more on this. So, Charlie, I can't imagine if you can list this off in a short period of time, but what are the immediate challenges facing rescuers? I actually heard this morning that aside from the list that you're going to tell me about, they also had heavy rain and hail. It's summertime there. It's like they cannot get the break that they need.
Yeah, it is a difficult time, a difficult task, and I will go ahead and list that. It is a remote mountainous area. There are single-track dirt roads leading into that area. Because of the widespread destruction, essentially buildings and homes falling down, those roads are blocked. So the only way in or out in terms of trying to get people, the injured, out of there is by helicopter. And we all know the difficulties that the Taliban and the Afghan government before them have had before them when it comes in terms of infrastructure, in terms of the equipment that's needed to reach these people, to get to those areas. So adding to that, overnight, and for the past couple of days, they've had, and this is summertime, and I've been there in Patika province in the summertime. It is baking hot and clear blue skies. It is not a time for thunderstorms and hailstorms and torrential rain, so that has just made matters worse. And also complicating the fact, it's not just trying to reach the people in terms of the search and rescue, because everybody from around that area has tried to get in there. All the villagers, local villagers, have tried to help in that rescue attempt. But also, once you are able to retrieve some of them, then you have to help the wounded. And it doesn't take long for those local area hospitals to be overwhelmed because they're simply overstaffed and under-equipped.
And the number of casualties, the number of injured, it's bigger than what we see. I don't even think the footage that we're showing really does the enormity of this tragedy justice. We know that it took place somewhat close to the Pakistan border, but the Taliban rules Afghanistan after that dramatic pullout of U.S. forces earlier. So what type of international cooperation can we expect from the Taliban? What kind of test is this for them as they try to address a catastrophe?
Well, you know, as you pointed out, right after the Taliban takeover, in fact, just before the Taliban takeover, a large number of international aid agencies, and there were many there in Afghanistan who are helping out, just trying to keep things running, trying to keep the hospitals equipped, trying to keep the personnel trained. The vast majority of those international aid agencies, including many American aid agencies, fled the country because of the Taliban rule. Adding to that, there are also sanctions against the Taliban. So any of the money that was going into Afghanistan in terms of funding this sort of infrastructure, this desperately needed infrastructure all over the country, that was removed as well. Now, who is there? The UN has never left. I mean, they pared down their foreign or international personnel there, but there is a large local contingent that remains there, and a small branch of internationals who are there. And of course, the International Red Cross, or in Afghanistan, the International Red Crescent, who are helping. But it's also been difficult because when we talk about the roads that have been taken out, it also took down a lot of telephone masts. So in addition to not being able to reach that, the communications have been awful. And communications, I've covered these enough, is key in terms of logistics and coordination. If you want to try to get a lot of people and a lot of equipment into an area that's been struck like that, you need to have decent communications. And the number of injured, specifically the number of injured, I think has been underestimated. And some of those injuries are terrible. This happened in the middle of the night. Many children are among the dead and injured. You know, they were asleep in bed. So it couldn't have happened at a worse time. And then just complicating the fact that this terrible rainstorm and thunderstorm and hailstorm has made it even more difficult to reach those areas. And we have to remember that this is already a country that is on its knees financially. It was suffering from years of drought, of underinvestment in terms of the infrastructure. So it was already struggling, and then something like this happens. It doesn't take much to knock over a village or two in that part of Afghanistan.
So I was going to actually ask you about that, because you said you've been there. What was the infrastructure like before this happened, in terms of medical care, in terms of the types of buildings, the types of roads? What was it like before?
Yeah, well, the types of buildings, it's largely, they're made of sort of clay and straw, and it's, you know, it's enough for that sort of rural life that they live there in those regions, but they are very vulnerable to any earthquake or anything, to be honest, especially in that region, in rural regions. Once you get outside of places like Kabul and Kandahar, areas that are more built up. In terms of the hospitals, you know, having covered that for about 20 years and seen U.S. and NATO forces trying to build up these hospitals, those are really, really important. Local clinics, and these were, you know, community outreach programs. It was pretty much already down to the bare minimum. And hospitals need to be kept up to date. In terms of personnel, that is a huge issue, and in terms of equipment. So when you have something as catastrophic as this happening in an area that's so remote, there aren't many options as to where you can put 1,500 or more injured people to be treated by the right people with the right equipment. So it was already pretty dire, and it doesn't take much for something like this, a catastrophe, to strike a village, to have that sort of impact.
Yeah, it's just heartbreaking, because it has been a very, very tough year for the people of Afghanistan, and it looks like it's only going to get tougher in this region. Charlie D'Agata, thank you.
Thank you.